Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So something a little different today. We are going vintage Variax. I scored a Variax Acoustic 700. Found a listing on Reverb and got a pretty good deal on one. I owned one of these years ago, and it was one of those guitars that I sold, and I always kind of regretted it. I mean, I'm sure I sold it to buy some other piece of gear, and I don't even remember what that was. So when I, would occasionally scour the internet looking for a deal, found this, was very excited about it. I mean, it's still got it's like brand new. It still has all the everything on it, the stickers and plastic and all that. So great find. So if you're not familiar with this guitar, these came out. I'm trying to remember the timeline. I know I bought mine, I think back in 06. And if I'm not mistaken, they were discontinued sometime around 2010. They didn't live much past once the JTV line came out, which was in 2010. I believe. So the reason I sold mine was when I got into the JTV line. It does a really good acoustic guitar. Like, well, it's a little redundant. I don't do a lot of straight acoustic shows, so I didn't need it. Fast forward now, I'm actually doing a lot of writing on the acoustic guitar, and also, doing some just acoustic shows. And I have a Martin acoustic electric I take up for that. Which is great, sounds great, but it can't do the alt tuning of the Variax stuff. So I'll bring along a JTV and do anything that needs an open tuning or something. I'll use that. But while it sounds good, it just feels different to be playing electric guitar for an acoustic show. Just, I guess, more of a mental thing on my part, probably more than anything else. But I just started thinking back to owning this guitar, and I'll always love the way it sounded. And mainly it was the alternate tuning feature that I needed. Because a lot of stuff I might write something in open E, but when I come up with a vocal melody to get in my range, I might tune the guitar down a whole step, but it's still an open E tuning, things of that nature. So dadgad, same way. I might move it around tuning wise, but it's still the dadgad structure of tuning. So I thought, live, that's going to be a real pain to do. So that's a really long preamble into why I sought out and purchased another one of these. So with all that said, I'm going to show you how I kind of set it up to do what I want it to do. If you're brand new to this, had no idea this thing existed, basically you've got a model control knob that is the same basically as you would see on the JTV, and then you have 3 sliders. Try to get that angled right. So the one slider is for volume, one is for mic position, the way they modeled it. And if you ever record an acoustic guitar, you change the mic position closer to the hole, closer to the neck, and you get different tones. Just like you would with an electric guitar. That's why there are pickups in different positions, places on the body. And then there's a knob or a slider to control compression, how much compression you want on it. So it was very versatile. Comes with lots of different styles of acoustic guitar, like from a parlor shape to dreadnought to jumbo. It has a banjo, sitar, kind of all the more obscure instruments. Well, not obscure, but different type instruments that can be played on this guitar as well. All really fun, really cool. Not why I bought it though. I mainly bought it because I wanted an acoustic guitar that sounded good, that I could do all the alternate tunings I needed. So the way the alternate tuning works on this is basically this light is green and you push this in, it turns red. And when it's red, you're in alternate tuning mode. So, I've been spoiled, obviously, going from Helix and Variax, being able to control tunings with snapshots and all that good stuff. So that was something I was, I knew it wasn't going to control it like it does JTV, but I was hopeful I could figure something out, and actually did. So I'm going to walk through that. It's kind of the whole point of this video. If you want one of these, I'm going to show you how I set it up for primarily alternate tuning stuff. And, if you are so inclined, you can take it from there. But just real quick, this is, I'll be running through the Helix in just a moment to show you the control with that. But initially, I'm going to show you how it works with the older Workbench software. So I have it plugged in to the USB interface, and then just a regular 1/4-inch cable straight into my mixer here. And so there's nothing on it. So it just sounds to me like it's just a really good, mic'd up / plugged in acoustic electric guitar. Certainly just plug straight into a mixer. I like the sound of this better than if you took a standard acoustic electric guitar and just plugged it into a mixer with just a regular piezo pickup. But and I remember back in the day when I would use this to record, the only thing I really felt missing was you didn't get quite the same pick attack. So I would actually put a mic at the sound hole to get that attack and mix it into the recording whenever I would use it for recording. And I'll put a link but down below to a song that I recorded using this guitar back when I had it in the 2000s. So, all right, so let's say you found one of these and you want to use it and you want to edit it and all this good stuff. You can actually do a lot of the editing, or really all of the editing. Well, most of the editing, I think, on the guitar. I didn't dive too deep into it because I knew I wanted to use Workbench. So I can't remember. I know you can do alternate tunings, programming it on the guitar itself. I can't remember if you can change the body model for the position because they're labeled, but with Workbench you can. So I'm just going to bypass the controls on the guitar for setting it up the way I am. I'm going to show you how I set it up. And to do that, I had to jump through a couple of hoops. Let's scoot a little closer to the computer for a second. So basically, you use the old version of Workbench software, which I believe the latest version of Windows it will run on is Windows 8. So if you have a newer machine or newer Mac, this software is not going to run. So what I did was I downloaded, Oracle has a free piece of software called VirtualBox, and you can run a virtual machine inside of that. If you're not familiar with what that is basically a computer running, it's complete software. It's a computer you can run inside of another computer. It all is a self-contained piece of software. You just need a copy of Windows to install and run. If you don't have a copy of an older version of Windows, Google's your friend. I'll just say that. So anyway, here we are. I've got a Windows 8 machine running. This is what the original Workbench software looked like, which is pretty cool. I like it. You have the body and you can choose. So down here, basically, I can double click to pull up any of these. And by default, these are all the different models. So anyone you go into edit, you can change the model. So there's the drop down. So if I wanted it, the 000, let that load, or if I wanted it to be like a parlor size guitar, I can do that. What I did, because all I wanted it for was the tuning. So I basically found I preferred the dreadnought sound. I kind of dialed in the mic and compression and trim the way I wanted it, and just copy pasted that across the board. So every preset has the dreadnought. The only thing that's going to change is the tuning. And you can also change by default whether you want the tuning enabled or not when you go to that model. So the way you assign the tuning is basically down here. You just click on where you want the tuning for each string to be, and it's that. Right now, this is not enabled. If I were to click this tuning would be enabled. And if you want to take what's here and just move it up or down, you can use this flat and sharp, these flat and sharp buttons, which is really cool. And over here, you can do blend. This is more for if you're doing like a 12 string kind of thing. You can do the mix between the regular string and the pitch shifted string, and then the amount of detune. Again, more for like 12 string stuff, which I'm not using that feature. So the way I did this was essentially when I go through the different presets, they're all the same body, they're all the same settings, but as you can see, this is enabled. So this is like a whole step down. This is a half step down. I think I go the other way going up. So I try to orient it in a way to where when I'm just spinning it on the guitar dial, the dreadnought will be home base and kind of up and down from there. And then just an easier way for me to remember. Also in this live and studio, the studio has like early reflections or a little bit of room sound. I don't want that. I'll be adding reverb later. So all the presets are set to live. So that's pretty much the setup I used to get the guitar to do what I wanted to do. I have all of my tunings set up. They're all saved. Every preset sounds the same, just with different tunings. Now, if you want this guitar for all the different styles of acoustic sounds, they're in there. Like I said, this is just how I set it up for how I wanted to use this guitar, primarily as a live instrument where I didn't have to worry about retuning my physical strings on my regular old acoustic guitar. So there's that side of it. And so that could have been all there was to it. I've got now the tuning set up. I've got them set up, on the dial the way, it makes sense to me. I can flip through them in between songs and all that. But I thought, well, what if we take it one step further and try to do something a little fun with it? So we're going to jump over to HX Edit real quick, and I'm going to show you a couple tricks I found with Helix that actually surprisingly worked pretty well and made me pretty happy. So let's check that out. Okay, so here we are in HX Edit. Basically, this is a preset that I had set up for the JTV Variax when I was doing acoustic sounds with it, and then just tweaked it a little bit. You've got a chorus, EQ, compressor, delay, reverb, looper pedal, volume pedal, real simple stuff. So when I got in here, my hopes were that somehow the Variax Acoustic and Helix would be able to communicate with each other in a meaningful way. You know, this was discontinued before Helix came out, so I knew like the string per string tuning feature wasn't going to be a thing. You know, it's fine. I had no hopes of that, but I did find when I started turning the model knob on the Variax Acoustic that thankfully Helix recognized those changes. So clearly the names of the models correspond to the JTV Variax, but that's fine. What I did was just really quickly make a spreadsheet that, you know, where I basically mapped out when the Helix thinks it's this is what it is on the Variax Acoustic model knob. So did that. And then just kind of made notes where, you know, as you saw in the Workbench part of the video, all of them have been set to Dreadnought. Here's just some example tunings, and then whether or not the tuning is enabled by default. Again, you know, when I showed you Workbench, I showed you how to enable or disable that. So all these models are saved, and I think this was I don't think this is how I had the final saving. So when we hop back over to edit and I start changing around, it may not be these exact Helix models. That doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm going on about. OCD strikes again. Anyway, so I made that spreadsheet so I could have a reference back to it. So what I would do was I just created snapshots that are the different tunings I needed. So in this case, drop D corresponds to this model. So I don't have to remember that. I just know because it's already programmed. When I hit drop D, it's in drop D. Standard tuning, open E, open G, you know, dadgad. You know, you can do whatever you want. Once you save it and Workbench, save it to the guitar, figure out, you know, it's on which position on the model knob, save it in the corresponding position in Helix. There you go. Bob's your uncle. So yeah, it thankfully, you know, there could have been just a standard workaround where I saved everything and had to remember, you know, to spin the knob to the right tuning. But man, just being able to have Helix do this was a very, very unexpected and happy surprise. So yeah, this is really cool. So anyway, if you happen to be a owner of one of these, or if you're trying to track one down, you know, this is a cool way you can use it if alt tunings are primarily your reason for wanting one, and you have a Helix. They actually play together pretty nicely. You know, they're not making any more of these, so I would say if you want one and can find a good deal on one, go for it. You know, there's not going to be any more than there are right now. I don't see Line 6 making any more in the future. You never know, but this has been discontinued for going on 15 years, I think, give or take. So anyway, if you have one, you know, hopefully this will be helpful in terms of setting it up. If you want to do something similar to what I've done, you know, the virtual machine thing is pretty straightforward. If you have a tech background, I'll just go ahead and say, save the questions. I'm not doing tech support on how to set up a virtual machine or where to find files. I was in IT. I'm done. I'm out of that game. I'm not doing that anymore. So Google and YouTube tutorial videos are your friend if that's the route you're going to go. But as you can see in my video, it's very doable. It's really not that complicated. And if you need Helix and Variax Acoustic to talk, you see how that's done. If you need to get into Workbench to edit the guitar, I've shown you how that's done. So anyway, I just kind of made this for the fun of it. I know there's probably not that many people that this is going to be relevant to, because not many people have these guitars anymore, but I was excited about how it worked out, pleasantly surprised, excited to have one of these again. So just for the fun of it, I wanted to make this video. No real goal other than my own enjoyment, I guess. So if you got any enjoyment or knowledge or whatever out of this video, please leave me a like, comment, subscribe, all that good social media stuff. As always, thanks for watching the channel. I do appreciate it so very much. And until next time, we'll see you.